Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell. I'd appreciate it majorly. So I wanted to just give a little update on the Susie Zhao, the Susie Q, is what I think she sort of went by on the gambling circuit, the professional gambler whose body was found, badly burnt, and she was dead in Michigan, the Pontiac Lake recreation area, which is outside of Detroit, not far from Troy, where I think she basically grew up. She's originally from China, Beijing, China. Her mom and her, I think just her mom and her, emigrated to the United States when she was just a little girl, and she's lived her whole life. She grew up in that area, Troy, Michigan. So there was a suspect who was arrested. That's been out there, and that's what I've been reading. Whatever's out there, trying to kind of glean who the individual is and what the motive is. But there's still no name. Why they're not releasing that is a little bit of a mystery. It's probably will turn out that it's not anything other than the police wanting to protect the investigation. To me, it seems like a random person, but I just don't know. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing. The two pathways I was trying to figure out. Is this just some dude that she got in the wrong car with the wrong person, and just a case of really bad luck? And that very well may be the case. Or was it somebody that was known to her? I mean, we at least know that it's a Michigan man, who's from Pontiac, Michigan man, 60 years old. I was trying to figure out, is this a member of her family or somebody that's known to her family? And my hunch tells me no, but I still just don't know. Her mom, she's only survived by her mom, both her parents she was born in Beijing, China. Both her parents are Chinese, but I don't know if both of her parents came here and her father has just is not a part of her life, or if he never came, or if he himself passed away sometime previously. But she's only survived by her mom in her obituary, who's only 58 years old. So she's, fairly young, but, in the old days, people had kids younger, because Susie Zhao is only 33 years old. So, but I'd say from the search warrants or some of the information that's put out there in terms of how the person was taken into custody, who hasn't even been charged yet, to the best of my knowledge, he hasn't been named. No charges have been filed, or at least named to the given to the press or the public. He is going to be handed over to the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office in the next couple of days after he was taken into custody, which was Friday morning at 9 a.m. The reports say that they multiple or search warrants were obtained Thursday, and basically that they were searching for a suspect vehicle. So there's two things. There's multiple search warrants. I'm not a lawyer or a law enforcement professional. I don't know if you need multiple search warrants to cover various aspects of a search. So they have to do multiple ones so that they're ready once they do find a vehicle or whatever. Or if that means that in addition to a vehicle, they had search warrants to search a premises as well. My guess is that it's just multiple search warrants to basically cover every angle so that you can act once you locate a person or a vehicle. But it's named in one of the search warrants. They were searching for a suspect vehicle. It's not like a suspect and a vehicle. It's suspect vehicle. At least that's how it's described in. I think it's Click on Detroit, one of the local news outlets. So I think they were looking for a vehicle and didn't necessarily have a suspect per se. I don't know if that means it was a stolen vehicle and they had no idea, who could potentially be driving it or what, and if it was something that was picked up on surveillance in the surrounding area or nearby where she was found. Her body was found on the 13th, 8 in the morning, badly charred in a dirt parking lot near the Pontiac Lake recreation area at basically an intersection, I think, of Macadam Lake Road and Cross Road. There's a large dirt parking lot, and they do believe she was killed, first, and then set afire. Whether she was killed in that same location and set afire, and that she was found there, we don't know. And before, I was saying that they know that they believe she was killed sometimes between 11:30, 11:45 p.m. on the 12th, the evening of the 12th, between then and the time she was found, because an employee of the Department of Natural Resources, I believe, that basically manages that park, was in that same area where she was found later the next morning around that time. So that leads them to believe that she was killed in that time frame, or at least dumped in that dump there between 11:45 p.m. and 8 in the morning the next day on the 13th, when she was found by, I think, two guys on their way to work, who basically, I think, saw them from their vehicle, as they were, going down Macadam Lake Road, and then which meets up with Cross Road in the Pontiac Lake recreation area. So they were looking for the suspect vehicle, and then detectives and the FBI actually located it Friday morning at an area near Interstate 275 and Michigan Avenue is where they located the car. Detectives and FBI, who then called the White Lake Township Police Department to basically, apprehend, pull this vehicle over, and then they took the individual in custody. When they say detectives, I'm assuming that's detectives from the White Lake Township Police Department, but it doesn't necessarily say, and I guess they wanted a cruiser to pull him over and then go from there. I'm not real sure, but that location of Interstate 275 and Michigan Avenue is about 30 miles, 27 miles, directly south of the Pontiac Lake recreation area where she was found killed. So, they do describe the individual as a Pontiac Michigan man. So he's from Pontiac, Michigan, which is right around the Pontiac Lake recreation area and very close to Troy. She had recently, there were reports she had recently returned from a trip to north of where she was, her home in Michigan, where she had returned from LA. She had been living in LA for the last 10 years or so, LA, and basically traveling many places back and forth from LA to Vegas, gambling, as a professional gambler, but also traveling the world. You see pictures of her in in Johannesburg, South Africa, I think in around 2015, when she was on the World Poker Tour, and I'm sure it took her to all sorts of places in addition to that location. But she had just recently visited, just went on a weekend trip with a friend who's named in a report. Her name's Michelle LaRue, and she actually has some pictures of Susie Zhao on her Facebook page, and expresses her deep sadness and condolences. But and she actually has pictures, I believe, from that weekend trip, where she and Susie and maybe another friend or two, as well as I think her own daughter, went up north just for a weekend trip. I think they even went a little further north of Saginaw, where they might have been on the lake, because there's pictures of them basically on the lake, and Susie's there with, I think, her daughter, at a bouncy type amusement lake place. So, but she had just returned from there. That was the weekend trip, and the 12th was Monday after that weekend. She was last seen at 5:20 or 5:30 by her mom, and then and found the next morning at 8 in the morning. She was found in jogging clothes, jogging pants, and tennis shoes. How she got to the Pontiac Lake recreation area is not known. Whether or not the police know that, she got a ride there, and we just don't know, and that's not reported in the press. or we just don't know, you know. I mean, it could be a number of things. It was reported that she frequently hitchhiked, you know, and that's just something she would do. Kind of a fearless person, and it's described as a free spirit. In fact, she's even described as a free spirit in her obituary, which I assume was at least in part prepared by her mother. But and she had recently had her car, you know, her car impounded, you know, for just traffic related incidents. But I believe it was actually impounded in the Michigan, you know, in the Michigan area, not back in Los Angeles, as I understand it. That's how detective described it. So, you know, again, I still have no idea who this individual is, and whether or not what the motive is, and whether he's known to her, or this was just some random thing, whether it was related to her gambling lifestyle, and was she involved in something else other than just gambling that led to this, or was this just some just totally random thing where some guy, you know, some sick individual just saw somebody that was walking down the road and hitchhiking and saw an opportunity and took it. You know, we don't know the manner of death. You know, they're still. They haven't released any of the results of the autopsy, as well as the toxicology report that they've been doing. You know, so we don't know that either. And you know, I don't know. I don't know if this is random or a combination of being random and as a result of her particular lifestyle. I mean, her gambling winnings, as they're reported in many of the media reports, and basically, you know, various sort of poker sites where you can look up professional poker players and see their winnings, but you're not looking at a true measure of their earnings. You're basically looking at what they won in tournaments that are, you know, that are a matter of record, and they're rather. For her, they're not humongous. They're, you know, respectable. I mean, I think the winnings in at least one poker site described her winnings at $220,000, and she actually had a deep run into the World Series of Poker event in 2012, where she won $73,000 in that event. But we don't know. You know, that's just a measure of what's recorded on official tournaments. We don't know that about her earnings in, you know, ongoing daily, weekly games that she participated in that aren't part of sponsored events and stuff. So I assume they're much, much bigger than that. But was there some aspect to her you know, her life that that she used to help finance her lifestyle, in addition to just playing professional poker when, you know, things might not have been going so well? And, you know, was she doing just other things to supplement that income when you know, her winnings weren't doing it, you know? And actually, one of the things that one of her roommates reports, who's also a former roommate, you know, told reporters, who's also a professional poker player, said that she could no longer afford her rent in Los Angeles, and so she, in addition to with that, in addition to having to deal with some personal matters, whether that in fact was the personal matter, I don't know. That's what caused her to move back home to Michigan. And that reporter, I think his name was Yuval Bronstein, who's you know, he himself is a professional poker player, and I don't know if he was her former roommate up until the time she left Los Angeles, you know, and or a former roommate from a year or more ago. That's not known. Many professional poker players expressed their shock and condolences and said she was, you know, nothing but nice, smart. She was a real, you know, she was a very good player according to, you know, her peers. And so, but that's the story. I did have like I said, as I was saying, I did have this idea that maybe she was doing something else to supplement that lifestyle when things weren't going as well, and maybe that's what led to her death in this case. But you know, to be killed in the way she was killed and have her body basically badly burned is how it's described. Like, you know, I believe they needed to identify her with fingerprints because of how badly her body was burned. You know, that doesn't seem like a random chance event. So it's a big mystery. And that's the story there, man. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.